Hey everybody, so when most of you guys think of the foldable phone, you think of the Samsung Galaxy Fold, this is the Fold 2, or maybe the Huawei Mate X, or maybe the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip. But actually the first phone brand to put out a foldable phone, meaning a foldable OLED screen, was not Samsung or Huawei, it was a Chinese brand named Royole. I tested the very first phone, the Royole FlexPai, and to be honest, the phone was not that great. But Royole's back with a second version. This is the FlexPai 2. So this was officially launched virtually in China about a week ago. I don't think it's even on sale yet. I might be one of the very first reviewers to get my hands on this. You know, not because I'm like better or anything, but just because I'm closer to the company. But yeah, I always get my hands on these tech really early. So if you're interested in following the latest, you might want to consider subscribing to my channel. So we have the phone right here. Ooh, this hinge already feels much better than the last one, but let's put it to the side first. Let's see what else is in this box. So we have a charging brick, a SIM ejector tools and some papers, and a USB-C cable. That appears to be it. So no case, no nothing. Last year's version came with a slight little leather cover, but not this year's. But anyway, let's get to the main event. So you have a quad camera system here, and you have, I believe this is like a 7.8 inch screen. Okay, let's do the first fold. Oh, so it folds a lot more flush than last year. Last year's version, when you folded, there was actually still a little bit, like a half an inch of a gap. This year, you see it folds pretty flush compared to the Galaxy Fold 2. So this screen is clearly plastic. It does not have that ultra thin glass technology that's used in the Galaxy Z Fold 2. So this is called Water OS version 2. Oh, that was a quick setup. Seems pretty intuitive so far. So this is one use case from the first FlexPai that's carried over. When you flip over the phone, you have a screen on the other side. So you can have two apps running separately. So for example, you can have Instagram on this app and WhatsApp on this app. So that means you can chat with your friend and check your IG, you know, back and forth without needing to actually close the app. So anyway, let me set up my information, see if I can load Google on there. I'm not sure if it can, and then I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm back. So I took the Royole FlexPai 2 out with me for an afternoon, played around with it non-stop, and I have a pretty good impressions of this device already. So first things first, let's just get this out of the way. This is not better than the Galaxy Fold 2, and I think it would have been almost damn near a miracle if Royole had made this better than the Galaxy Fold 2. You know, Royole
with cheese. Royale with cheese.
They are a Chinese company that they're relatively new to smartphones. The FlexPai, the first one, was actually their very first smartphone. This is just the second attempt. Instead, they are a company that specializes in making display panels for many other different businesses. Like, you know, if you go to a mall in China, you see a curved display that wraps around a wall that might be made by Royole on a bus, stuff like that. So this is only the second attempt at a phone, and you can't really expect a relatively small company, at least compared to Samsung, to be able to make a thing that beats the Galaxy Fold 2, which, let's be honest here, this is the phone of the year. But let's go over the specs anyway. So this thing sells for $1,500 US. That's just the conversion, because it's not gonna go on sale in the US for sure. It's about 9,998 Chinese yuan. So that comes out to about $1,500. So this thing runs on a Snapdragon 865. This display on the front, it's a 5.5 inch display with a 16:9 aspect ratio. Now around the back, it's a 5.4 inch display with a 16:10 aspect ratio. But of course, this is one panel. When you unfold the device, it becomes a 7.8 inch display, a resolution of 1440p. Now this hinge is really nice, it's really well built, and as I already mentioned during the unboxing, it actually folds more flush, really similar to the Huawei Mate XS's hinge. The design's very similar. So this is a huge improvement over the first FlexPai's hinge, which left a pretty wide gap like that much, and the back of the hinge was covered in cloth, in fabric. It looked pretty kind of homemade, to be honest. Now this hinge looks a lot better. Now you have 4 cameras right here. At the top you have a 16 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. The second camera is an 8 megapixel telephoto lens that can do 3 times lossless zoom. And then right here, the main camera. This is a 64 megapixel main camera with an f1.9 aperture. And down here is a 32 megapixel portrait lens for taking selfies. Now I can't say I've tested the cameras heavily, but I've tested it quite a bit outside for like 40 minutes taking a lot of pictures, and the main camera, it's okay. The 3x camera is also okay. The ultra wide angle camera, not that great. There's like a major color shift in terms of color temperature when you switch from the main camera and the wide angle camera. And the portrait lens, I don't even know what the hell it does, to be honest. But let's get to the most exciting part of the phone, the fact that this is a pocketable device that doubles as a smartphone. But if you want, you can have it work as a tablet too. And while we're already here, we might as well do a speaker test. So you get stereo speakers on this phone. You have a speaker grill down here and up top. So we have 60% on max volume, 50%. So speaker sounds pretty good, stereo speaker, and this display panel looks pretty good. Now those of you who've used a Galaxy Z Flip or a Fold 2, you may know that this inside foldable screen has seen a major improvement from the first Fold in that it feels more like glass. It doesn't feel as soft and mushy like the first Galaxy Fold's panel. Unfortunately, Royole's screen technology isn't there, meaning if you touch the foldable screen of the Royole FlexPai 2, it feels softer, a little bit mushier than the ultra thin glass that's used here. Now to be fair, this is still kind of plastic. It's just mixed with a little bit of glass to make it feel a little bit harder, but it definitely feels a little bit more durable than the screen. And this is one of my major concerns about using this phone. Just like the Huawei Mate X, the screen is always exposed. So that means if you drop this phone, it's probably a goner. If you accidentally clang this phone on a table when you're taking it in and out of your pocket, it's probably a goner. So durability is probably a concern. Now, as I demonstrated during the hands-on, this UI allows you to open 2 apps basically separately, one on the front screen, one on the back screen. So let's say on the front screen I have on Instagram. Now when I flip the phone around, the screen automatically lights up. It can tell which side is the right side up. Now I can open, say, the photo album right here, and it remains that open that way. So now I have the photo album right here. If I flip back around, I have Instagram right here. And I really like that when you're watching Instagram, you can unfold the device and it goes into this full screen view. I just think Instagram stories look so good on a large screen. Now the question a lot of you guys are surely wondering is, can this phone run Google apps? Unfortunately, no, at least not so far. So I've already installed all the side loading Google methods. Like I downloaded an APK from APK Mirror, and I downloaded this really popular Chinese app to install Google apps, and it just could not get Google frameworks running. I think what happened was Royole did not pay the licensing fee, so it does not have the Google core mobile services in there, which is basically the same problem that's happening to Huawei, except the difference is Huawei does not have access to it, not because they didn't pay, but because Donald Trump blocked it. Whereas Royole probably just did not pay Google for those rights. So that means you cannot run main core Google apps on this, like YouTube, Google Pay, Google Drive, stuff like that. But Google Chrome still works on this, as you can see, and you can watch YouTube on Google Chrome, and Google Maps actually work on this phone too. Now check out the settings panel. So the first thing you see up top is Edge Screen. So I've turned it off already, but by default it's on. When you turn it on, it basically has this little pull down menu from the side. You know, same logic as the Galaxy Edge phones, meaning you pull from the side and it's a menu that you trigger from the side. You have a shortcut here to launch the camera, and shortcuts to launch Alipay and WeChat, other Chinese apps. The good news is you can customize this menu, so you can put other apps on here too. Like you can have Instagram on here if you want. Now one cool shortcut trick is this space underneath the camera module. There's actually a touch sensitive panel right here. and you can trigger actions. Like, for example, say you have Chrome open right here. If you double tap, it jumps into a split screen mode. So now you can open something else, like you can open a calculator. You can double tap again, and you can now open a third app, and you can resize the windows too. So multitasking so far seems pretty intuitive. I have not encountered many bugs. Now overall in-hand feel, it's pretty nice, although this phone is a little bit heavy and it's also a little bit wide, so it's kind of awkward to hold for long periods of time because, you know, narrower phones are easier to grip, so this is not like the most comfortable phone to grip. But overall construction does feel premium, although I am worried about the durability of the screen. Yeah, so that's about it for this kind of early first look at the Royole FlexPai 2. I like the hardware. Unfortunately, the lack of support for Google Apps is going to be a major issue for me and probably most of you watching this. But to be honest, this phone's not going to sell outside of China. It's not meant for a global audience. This is meant for people within China. And, you know, like, it is what it is. I mean, the Galaxy Fold 2 is a better phone for sure. If you're going to pay $1,500 for this, you might as well pay a little bit more and get the Fold 2. But, you know, if you want to support a Chinese brand, if you want to support a smaller brand, or if you have the money to buy multiple phones, if you're a collector, this might be worth looking at. So this is the Royole FlexPai 2. I'm going to be testing a little bit more and be back with a more full review with more photo samples and opinions on the camera and overall UI, all that. So that's it for now. Once again, if you're interested in keeping up to date with the latest tech and gadget out of China or out of Japan and Korea, please subscribe to my channel or follow me on Instagram at Ben's Gadget Reviews. Thanks for watching.